What if I told you that the people quietly living past 100 aren't chasing miracle diets, expensive supplements, or secret medical treatments, but are doing one surprisingly simple thing every single day without even realizing how powerful it is? Most people over 70 wake up believing their best years are behind them, that slowing down is inevitable, that aches are permanent, that excitement belongs to the young. But let me tell you something most doctors don't say out loud, something families forget, something society almost never talks about. Aging doesn't decide how long you live, your daily behavior does. And the elders who cross 100 with clarity, calm, and dignity usually share one daily habit that looks almost too ordinary to matter, yet quietly rewires the body and mind over decades. I once met an old man sitting on a park bench every morning at sunrise. He was 92 at the time. Sharp as a blade, laughing easily, walking without fear. And when I asked him his secret, he smiled and said, "I never stopped showing up to life." And that sentence stayed with me. Because what he meant wasn't motivation talk or positive thinking nonsense. He meant something much deeper, something physical, emotional, and psychological all at once. He meant daily engagement, daily purpose, daily movement mixed with meaning. Because the longest living seniors don't isolate themselves. They don't mentally retire from life. They don't sit waiting for time to pass. They participate every day in something that reminds their body it's still needed and reminds their brain it's still alive. Science tries to explain this through hormones, neural pathways, inflammation reduction, cardiovascular activity. But honestly, you don't need a lab coat to understand it. You just need to observe how elders who live long actually live. They wake up with a reason, even if that reason is small. Watering plants, walking to the same corner store, calling one person, fixing one thing, telling one story, moving their body even when it complains, because the body listens to habits more than words. And when you give it a daily signal that says, "I'm still in the game," it adapts. It repairs. It strengthens instead of shrinking. Here's the part most people miss though, and this is important. It's not about intense exercise or strict routines. It's about consistency mixed with intention. Because the nervous system of older adults thrives on rhythm, on familiar effort repeated gently over time. And when that rhythm disappears, the body interprets it as decline, not rest. Which is why so many people age rapidly, right after retirement or after losing a spouse. Not because grief or age itself kills them, but because daily engagement disappears. Think about it. Muscles weaken when unused, but so does confidence, balance, memory, even joy. And the elders who pass 100 often say the same quiet thing in different words. I stayed curious. I stayed useful. I stayed connected. I stayed moving. And none of them say, I waited. Because waiting is the real enemy of longevity. There's a woman I heard about who turned 101 last year. Still cooking for herself. Still arguing playfully with her granddaughter. Still choosing her clothes carefully every morning. And when asked how she lived so long, she said something almost funny. I never stopped getting ready. And that's it right there. Getting ready for life every day. Not staying in pajamas waiting for the day to end. Not treating each morning like a burden, but like an invitation. Because the brain responds to preparation, to anticipation, to movement toward something. Even something small. The mistake many people over 70 make is believing they need permission to still live fully. They stop trying new things, stop walking outside, stop speaking up, stop planning ahead, because society quietly teaches them to step aside. But the body doesn't know society's rules. It only knows signals, and when you stop signaling engagement, it begins shutting systems down. Long-living elders send daily signals of participation. They walk, they stretch, they talk, they listen. They think, they remember, they imagine tomorrow. And this combination creates resilience, because movement keeps joints alive, conversation keeps cognition sharp, purpose regulates stress hormones, and meaning stabilizes emotional health, which is why loneliness is now considered as dangerous as smoking, and inactivity more harmful than aging itself. Here's something else people don't expect. These elders don't avoid discomfort completely. They accept small effort daily. They allow mild fatigue, light soreness, mental challenge, because the body grows weaker when protected too much, and stronger when challenged gently. And that's why doing nothing to rest often backfires, while doing a little every day keeps systems tuned. There's also a powerful identity component, because when you still do something daily, you still see yourself as someone who contributes, not someone who's waiting to be taken care of. And identity directly affects health outcomes. Studies show this. But elders have known it long before studies existed. The daily habit I'm talking about isn't one action. It's a pattern. Wake up, move with intention, connect with at least one person, engage the mind, and close the day feeling you showed up, even imperfectly, even slowly, even quietly. Because perfection doesn't matter, repetition does. Notice how elders who live long don't rush, but they also don't freeze. They flow at their own pace, and pace is personal, not competitive. Another thing, they don't live in constant fear of death. They live in relationship with life. They don't measure days left, they measure moments lived. And that mindset alone reduces chronic stress, lowers blood pressure, improves immune response, because fear ages faster than time. And yes, genetics matter. Access to healthcare matters, but daily engagement matters more than most people admit, because genes load the gun, habits pull the trigger. I've seen elders with every advantage decline rapidly because they stopped participating, and others with modest means outlive expectations because they stayed involved, stayed moving, stayed mentally awake. The irony is that this habit costs nothing, requires no equipment, no gym membership, no doctor's permission. It only requires a decision made daily, sometimes hourly, to stay in the present moment and act within it. The truth is harsh but freeing. Nobody stays young forever, but many people stay alive longer than expected by refusing to mentally retire. If you're over 70 and still wake up each day with some form of movement, connection, and purpose, even small, even imperfect, you are statistically stacking the odds in your favor without realizing it. Because longevity isn't built in dramatic moments, it's built in quiet mornings, slow walks, honest conversations, repeated over years. So here's my simple, practical suggestion for you. And listen carefully. Choose one meaningful daily action you can realistically maintain. Something that moves your body, engages your mind, or connects you to another human, and protect that habit like medicine. Because if you keep showing up to life every day, life often keeps showing up for you longer than anyone expects.